Today on the show, we have a politician, a member of parliament and a very well-known businessman. Naveen Jindal, thanks so much for joining us on the show. We are meeting at a time, unfortunately, when GDP growth is a matter of concern. There have been many predictions or rather estimates which suggest that GDP could be going down. Even IIP numbers have been dismal, manufacturing data has been pulling it down. Do you think it is one of the worst times that you have seen as an industrialist?
Well, I don't think this is one of the worst times that I have seen as an industrialist, but definitely it is a matter of great concern. But I'm very hopeful and I'm an optimist. So I do feel that next year is going to be better and we are going to have better numbers. Our GDP growth rate is going to be 6 to 6.5% in the next year.
Right. And what do you think some of the factors or some of the things that the government could do so that the macros of the economy really is uplifted?
I think it's mostly to do with policy making, to implement those policies well in a way to make it easier for industries to come up, easier for mining to be able to start, easier for people to grow.
Budget is just around the corner. Do you think that the finance minister can fix some of these things? Are we expecting something from the budget, especially from the steel and power sectors where you operate?
Actually, we all make too much out of the budget. I just feel it's an annual exercise. But nowadays, all throughout the year, all the ministries, they keep on making small changes or sometimes big changes also. But yes, budget is also a very important exercise and we have a very experienced finance minister and I'm sure he has taken many steps in the right direction and I'm sure, no one knows better than him and our Prime Minister about the economy. So I'm very confident that they would take the right steps which are going to be good for the industry.
Right. You operate in capital-intensive sectors like power and steel. Now, do you think anything can be done by the RBI and how crucial is a rate cut at this point?
I think it's quite crucial. In India, the interest rates are very high. Say around 12% even for a good corporate, so which are very high. For a capital-intensive industry, like you said, for power generation, for steel making, obviously it matters a great deal. So I feel that capital has to be made available if we want investments in these sectors, because now when we working on new projects and we're looking at expanding at these interest rates, very few projects are, because margins are very little, especially in steel. So it's not conducive for growth in steel if the interest rates are high.
Right. Mining is something that has been the center of attraction for all the wrong reasons. Do you think the mining policy also needs an overhaul and whatever has happened has really stifled the growth in the industries?
Yeah, I think mining is extremely important for any country because if we want to create wealth, is it going to come from the top or is it, we have to take it out. We have to take it out from somewhere. So I'm all for systematic mining, following all the environmental norms. It must not lead to any deprivation in the environment, but it has to be done. But in the course of doing an activity, people are bound to make mistakes. So those small mistakes must not make the whole thing as if it's illegal, it's done something wrong. So I think we made too much out of it and which has led to closure. I'm not saying, I'm sure some of them must be very big violations and people who violate or flout norms openly, they have to be closed. But in the course of doing work, if some small mistakes which are not intentional happen, I think we have to help these companies correct those things and the activity must go on because livelihood of millions of people is dependent on this. And for our economy, for the country's economy also, these mining operations are very, very important.
Now, talking about steel sector, you have a huge presence there. You are expanding fast. Do you think there is a time now where demand is weak and there is an oversupply in the market as far as steel is concerned? Tata Steel is growing, JSW is growing, everybody is expanding, but the demand on the ground seems to be weak.
Yes, that is true. We have never seen such huge stocks in our companies like we are experiencing now. So yes, demand is growing only like 4 to 5%. I don't think we are building overcapacity because any norms, any country that we compare ourselves to, our steel consumption is still very low. So it's just a matter of time. As soon as things start to happen, this capacity is nothing. Today, I don't think the prices could go down much further because the raw material prices, they are quite high. If you talk about iron ore, we talk about coking coal, they are still quite high. So not that steel makers are making much profit.
Right. The perception all across has been that you are one of the promising steel companies and you have been expanding fast. But your expansion projects have taken a little bit of beating in terms of delay in execution. Now, when is the next phase of expansion coming in for yourself? And what are the revenue targets that you are looking at once that expansion is through?
Okay, we are working on many projects. You're right. It is extremely challenging to do any project in India, and I have said this many times. And compared to a power plant, steel plant is probably 10 times more complex. In the coming year, we hope to add 2 million ton steel making capacity in Angul as early as April, May. And then our steel plant, 2 million ton steel plant in Oman is going to go on stream by September, October this year. So it is a very exciting year, 2013-14, where we are expecting our capacities to come up. And today our revenue is around 20,000 crores. So if we say by 2020, we expect it to be 4 times of this to a level of around 80,000 crores with a capacity, steel making from 3 million to 12 million and power generation also. Say presently we are generating around 1500 megawatt to around 10,000 megawatt by 2020.
Now, your 1.5 million tons, which is coming up in Angul in a few months from now, for that, Utkal B1 mine is extremely crucial from where the coal will be produced. Now, for that one, there has been a lot of back and forth between the state and the central government. Now, Odisha state has already got a clearance from the central government about 1 month back. Why is it still stuck? How hopeful are you that it will come through?
We are very hopeful and very confident that it will come through. Like I said, it takes time. In India, it takes time to do anything. So we are very hopeful that by next month, this issue would be resolved. And we hope to, in the next 6 months, start, because we have got all the clearances to start that coal blocks. So we hope that in the next 6 months, we are able to start getting coal from Utkal B1.
Right, you are hopeful, but I just wanted to also ask that is there any particular issue that has cropped up in the middle, because I thought that clearance from the center was the only thing that was holding the Odisha state back from really giving its go-ahead. So is there a new issue that has cropped up, or is it just a bureaucratic delay that's...
No, to the best of my knowledge, there are no issues as such, but it does take time. So I think it is that normal process that it is going through, because everyone is very cautious, everyone wants to do everything which is perfect. So it does take time. I hope it will get resolved soon.
Because you're expanding capacity and you also want to export a large part of your produce going forward. What is your strategy when it comes to ports? How much are you expected to put in and invest for buying out ports in India?
That depends, it depends which port you're talking about. But yes, we are also in talks with the company to participate with them in building the port. Like you said, it's very important to be connected to the outside world. So we also look at participating with someone to develop a port, so that we can, whatever incoming raw materials are needed or whatever we want to export, I think it's very important to have this connection with the outside world.
2 years back looked like that you were gung-ho on power, but suddenly you thought that let's take it easy on power and focus more on steel. Now I want to pose a question.
I'm not saying this. We want to focus on both.
Okay.
On steel and on power.
Okay.
So all the projects wherever we have a competitive advantage, where we have raw materials, we would like to go in for those projects. And we are not looking only in India, because there's a need for power. In many countries all across Africa. There's shortage of power even in Australia. Actually, many parts of the world, there is shortage of power. So the experience that we have gained setting up these power plants in India, I think is very valuable. And now we could much easier set up power plants internationally and also have much higher returns there.
Which are the areas that you are looking at? Because CIC Energy is something that you recently acquired, and looks like you are going to set up a power plant there. So what is the plan there, and which are the other geographies that you could be looking at?
CIC was a company listed in Canadian Stock Exchange, but it had all its operations in Botswana. In Botswana, it has nearly 6 billion tons of reserves. About this whole coal block allocation controversy, it added up to say around 6.5 billion. So this one company alone has 6 billion tons of coal, which we were able to acquire for only say around $100 million. So we want to set up a power plant, approximately 600 megawatt power plant in Botswana, to cater to the needs of Botswana and may be able to export to neighboring countries also.
The 1,000 megawatts of power capacity that is operational at the moment, in the last quarter which has gone by, it didn't have the right kind of profitability, or the kind of profitability which everybody expects from JSPL. So how long is this evacuation issue going to be there, and are we looking for some solutions there, and how soon it will be up and running in its good capacity?
You're right, last quarter was challenging in terms of evacuation of power because after the grid collapse, then all the authorities, they became, I would say, extra cautious, and they were playing extremely safe, even though in that region there were no issues as such. So, but now situation has eased up, some new lines have started. So in the long term, I'm sure these issues are going to be resolved.
Next quarter onwards, is it on track, or is it going to suffer for
Let's see, I think it is on track.
Okay.
We don't expect any problems. But then, we can expect everything to be going great. And there could be problems. So if there are, then I'm sure you'll know about it. Prices have become very, very competitive now. We are selling sometimes at 2 rupees, 2.5 rupees, 3 rupees. So it is say around 3 rupees. So, I mean, this is very, very competitive, but it's all right.
Talking about power on the whole, of course, coal is very important, and you have 50%, 60% captive coal. But then as you grow capacity 2,400 megawatts, your requirement for coal will increase. What are you doing as part of your strategy for having fuel linkage intact?
We are also in queue, like hundreds of others to get coal. So we have linkage for the first 2 sets, and the next 2 sets are only going to come in next year. So I hope by that time Coal India increases its capacity, and also we are looking at importing coal. We could also import some coal to meet our requirements. I'm sure when the government in its wisdom is working on price pooling of coal, it has obviously everything that you see, it has its pluses and minuses. So I think this policy of price pooling could alleviate the problem of coal shortages.
Right. You said that you are going to import from your international markets and some of the mines that you already have. So Mozambique is going
I didn't say it, you're saying it.
Okay, I am asking you about Indonesia, Mozambique.
Yes.
You have acquired in various parts of the world. So are they now going to start reaping benefits?
Yes, we hope that our Mozambique mine starts supplying some coal from next month onwards, some amount of soft coking coal. And for power, it's still some time, and right now there is no need, because our power plant is not ready. It will only be ready towards the end of this year, around September 1st unit is going to start generating. So we'll see at that time what is the availability of coal, because it's a very dynamic situation. So we'll see at that time when the need arises what needs to be done. We have many options to get coal, and as soon as the plant is ready, we're going to start generation.
All right, and talking about all your international operations, and you are now looking at Gujarat, NRE, Coke's units which are present, or the mines in Australia as well.
Only the mines, whichever is the listed company in Australia. Yeah. Coking coal prices touched $350, $360. Today they are around $160, $170. So we really suffered on that account. So to build in that raw material security, we have acquired coking coal mines, and we are working, and this is one such attempt.
Your offer seems to have been declined by the board. So
Yeah.
how much higher can you go, and what is the kitty that you have set aside for these acquisitions?
We are not going to go higher, and we have made a declaration to that effect. Whatever price that we have offered, we think that it's a fair price, and we are going to stick to that. So, and we are very hopeful, even though the management may decline that offer, but the shareholders of the company, they may think otherwise.
In hindsight, do you feel that all the international ventures that you have put your money in have not been that fruitful, like many other promoters of India who have gone to Australia, bought big mines, and they have not turned out to be as fruitful? So do you think that is a mistake, or do you think it's just a matter of time?
We have made many mistakes. I feel Bolivia was a big mistake, but we put in our most sincere effort, and it didn't bear fruit. But that's how life is. That's part of life. Similarly, some other places in Africa, but these were all small investments. But we've had very good, investment in Oman, in South Africa, where in Mozambique, and in many other places where we see great potential.
Right. What have been the lessons learned from Bolivia? Can you share that so that other entrepreneurs also don't go ahead and make those mistakes?
Well, the lesson is not everything that shines is gold. I mean, the countries which are challenging, political risk is very, very important to see what is the kind of political environment of a country.
But if it doesn't work out, isn't there like a political risk cover that could be taken even in Maldives? GMR could have taken, you could have taken in Bolivia. Is that something that corporate India is now thinking about?
Well, I'm not fully aware that if there's such kind of risks. I mean, I'm sure the insurance companies also, giving this kind of a cover would charge a huge premium. And I don't know, we did not explore that, but we'll see next time if there is such an opportunity available.
Okay, economic viability
Yes.
also has to be looked into for that one. Your understanding in the market is that you are a tough negotiator when it comes to buying out anything. And so do you see that there is scope of consolidation in the domestic market when it comes to both steel and power? You have been in touch with some of the players, I know. So is that something that is going to be a part of the strategy for JSPL?
Well, I think consolidation, in any industry is good. But we have not seen many opportunities in India. Those opportunities, we did not find them very attractive. They all had something or the other which keeps us away from them. So it doesn't matter, it's just a good project. But good project, we have to see its weakest link.